Hi everyone, thanks for joining. Hope you're all doing well. As normal, we've got CZ for about 30 to 45 minutes. We'll try and fit in as many questions as we can during that time. If you'd like to ask CZ a question, please raise your hand and we'll get to as many of you as possible. For those of you that do get brought on stage, please have your question ready. Keep your mic muted until I call on you, and then once I call on you, if you could just get straight to your question, that would be great. I will aim to go in order of when people were added to the stage, just to keep it fair and make it so you sort of know where you are in the queue. And yeah, please just get straight to the question, be ready to ask it. And as normal, don't shill any projects or add any unnecessary details. That just helps us be able to get as many questions answered as possible in the amount of time that we have. So thank you all. I'm going to start bringing a few people on stage now while we wait for CZ to join. He should be here in a minute. Thank you.
Hello, guys.
Hey, CZ. How's it going?
Not too bad. How are you?
Doing well, thanks. So we've done the intro. I'm bringing some people on stage now. We've got Umbrella up first. So Umbrella, do you want to kick it off with your first question?
Yeah, hi, thanks for bringing me up. You can hear me fine, right?
All good.
Yes.
Yeah. So CZ, what do you think of Bitcoin ordinals if you've kind of seen them around, let's call it pseudo NFTs, directly on BTC, and you know that it's giving the ability to build directly on kind of the Bitcoin chain? I just want to get your thoughts and Binance's thoughts about the growth of this and being able to kind of build all directly on Bitcoin.
I think it's great, right? So I think the more we can do directly on the Bitcoin blockchain, the better. So Bitcoin is the most decentralized coin protocol around, and the more we can do it there, the better. So yeah, I mean that's really it. The more options we have, the better. Bitcoin's ability to do that is a little bit less flexible than other blockchains. So I think it's great that when other blockchains innovate NFTs, etc., then Bitcoin can can catch up to it. So I think it's great. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, thank you, Umbrella, for starting off with the question there. And that was something new as well. So it's pretty interesting. So next in line is Alex. Might be biased, but I think you have a great name. Alex, please go ahead.
Hey, man. Thanks for having me here. Hey, CZ. I wanted to ask you two things I was thinking of recently regarding the crackdown on the BUSD. I thought, first of all, the stable coin or the algorithmic coin by Luna was a fail, okay, but is there any, or do you see any alternative coming up recently that could be an alternative to real fiat-backed, one-to-one backed stable coins? And the second thought was, why do we still run on this like USD system when we are crypto and we are like, as an industry, we should say we want to be backed by a hard asset. So why don't we move to gold, for example, as a reserve for trading pairs? Or do you see any problems with that?
Sure. Well, it's a complicated question, right? Well, it's a large topic. Well, first of all, I think what you said makes sense, but there are practical considerations when it comes down to it. There's quite a few different parts, right? Number one is why do we need stable coins? Well, stable coins are still important because most people's costs are still in fiat currencies. And so when they calculate returns, ROIs, etc., when they calculate prices, most people use US dollar prices for crypto, right? So because US dollar stable coins are the most popular and the largest. But I think given the current pressure and current stances taken by the regulators on the US dollar-based stable coins, I think that, as you said, that the industry probably will move away to non-US dollar-based stable coins, and maybe also back to algorithmic stable coins. I think, to be honest, actually, this latest developments may be related to, well, probably are started at a time when Luna UST failed. And this regulatory changes or their actions usually take pretty long cycles, based on our experience. So and probably look, the FTX issues, etc., probably sped that up. But I think basically this is gonna force industry players to look for other options, non-USD based, more algo stable coins. Each one has its advantages and disadvantages. I think as a result of this, we'll probably will see more euro-based or other Japanese yen, Singapore dollar-based stablecoins. So it's actually prompted us to look for more options in different places. At the same time, we're also looking at algo stablecoins. Algo stablecoins, though, is quite unique. It's inherently going to have risks, right? So when you use one asset as collateral for a different asset type, there will always be fluctuations in price. So, and we know in this industry, prices can go, they can go up to 99.9% changes. So, and I think for algorithmic stablecoins, that risk just needs to be disclosed to users in a transparent way. And how to manage reserves should be done in a very transparent way. So this way, users can very clearly decide what's going on, what's happening, or at least can clearly see. I think one of the things we've seen from the UST crash is we don't know what Do Kwon was doing at the time. We don't know how, like, he had Bitcoin reserves, he had other reserves. We don't know where those reserves are. We don't know how he's using it. At the end, after everything, it turned out he actually did use a Bitcoin reserve fairly late in the game to try to bring the peg back, but then it was too late. So, so I think we just need a way, like, very similar to how DeFi does it. There's a curve, and there should be a smart contract that details how the funds are used to maintain the peg. Even if the peg is lost, there may be an economic opportunity there. For people to lock more money to maintain the peg. So I think the economics just need to be done in a much more decentralized, much more transparent way. I think there's definitely a way to do it much better. And I think we're actually seeing more projects doing that now. Even in the last 24, 48 hours, I personally had a number of projects coming to me saying, "Hey, look, we're working on this thing. This is a solution to this problem." So we're seeing more of that happening. So so it's a large topic, but I think the industry are looking for the industry collectively are looking for solutions that addresses the current difficulties we face.
Very interesting. Thank you, Alex, again for the questions. So then next up, I think it's Evan.
Hey, CZ. First of all, thank you for being on so much active on Twitter and spending a time even on the Valentine's Day and educating the community. My question is clear. Now, earlier it was supposed that crypto is so much volatile. Now, after the FUD with USDC, then USDT, and now BUSD. What do you think? What's wrong happening with the stables? Because most of the Seleniers or future Seleniers are holding the stables, but they are also kind of unsafe now. Look like. So what's your advice or take on this situation?
Okay. Well, first of all, I want to say, happy Valentine's Day, everybody. Second of all, the stable coins, like at least BUSD, even if you look at the NYDFS notice on their website, they specifically instruct Paxos to ensure one-to-one pegging, and customers are able to redeem at orderly fashion. So even though no minting of new BUSD minting is stopped, the existing circulating supply is there and safe. And as more people want to redeem, then they will be burned. There shouldn't be any loss of value to investors or to users. So that's a good thing. So I think the fact that it's done that way, it's an orderly wind down. So that's a good thing. So people holding stablecoins shouldn't lose any. People holding BUSD should not be in any financial trouble or expected to lose any value. But the current overall the amount of pressure put onto stablecoins, etc., is quite significant. There's multiple agencies kind of trying to apply pressure there. So I think basically, as we said previously, I think it's just going to shrink the US dollar-based stablecoin market. So we're basically exploring what are the other options. Well, not us, like the industry. Like there are Euro-based stablecoins that talk to us now. There are Japanese yen stablecoins that talk to us now. So I think basically that probably, to be honest, is a little bit better to diversify a little bit. I think that's really it.
Great. Well, thanks, Nevin, for the question. So then next is Akasa.
Hey, thank you for having me here again. My question will be quite simple today. It is, when Launchpad?
There's a few when Launchpad. There's a few projects in the pipeline. The Launchpad project takes a lot of time to vet, and we typically spend 6 to 9 months with any successful Launchpad projects before they launch on Launchpad. So there are a number of projects in the pipeline. I don't know exactly when, to be honest. Yeah, but hopefully soon. Yeah,
hopefully soon. That's a great question. I think all the community will be happy you asked that. Cool. All right, passing over then to Jess. Jess, you there? Okay, let's go to OXMGD.
Hi, good morning, guys. My question is kind of simple. It's regarding BUSD and BTC. CZ, kind of a question. What do you think in terms of kind of the order flow that was coming in using BUSD to kind of swap into BTC? Is there kind of anything behind that? Because a lot of people, I guess, were saying that, you know, BUSD was kind of like the liquidity in BUSD and BTC pair was kind of being used just kind of as like some type of exit liquidity pump, you know, kind of knowing that these regulatory pressures were, you know, approaching. Is there any kind of comment on that or anything of that sort? Thanks.
To be honest, thanks for the question. But to be honest, we haven't seen anything. I haven't seen anything extraordinary or strange or like abnormal. Whenever there's some negative news about one coin, people do there's a small group of people who do tend to try to flight to other coins. And in this case, if it's BUSD that's in the news, then people will want to use BUSD to buy BTC. They may convert it to other stable coins. We've seen some of that. I think that's kind of totally expected. We didn't see anything abnormal about it. So I mean, it's a free market, but so as an exchange, always sees people trading, right? So people buy and sell. We don't know why. And from our perspective, the trading volume is really hot. Whenever there's some news, both positive or negative, the trading volume will spike for a little bit, and then things will quiet down for a bit. So we haven't seen anything abnormal. To us, it's just normal trading.
Cool. Well, thanks, Marcos, for the question. Then next is Elja.
Hello, Alex. Hello, CZ. I just have a question now regarding the BUSD. You're going to look for a new issuer, non-US based. What is the time frame? And second question, what do you think of these stable coins, which backed by BNB, for an example, without mentioning names, of course?
Sure. I think we talked a little bit about this. Well, anyway, hi, Elja. I think BUSD will orderly wind down over time. I do expect to take multiple years, probably. There's always a cohort of people that will just hold on forever. So even the original BNB that's on the Ethereum blockchain, there's still a little bit left. There's still be left from users that just unwilling to convert. They hold it in their own wallets and they don't deposit it to the exchange. So I do think that will take a while. And then on these stable coins, we welcome more and more options. And I think, look, there will be more. Right now there's like really a few main stable coins, right? So there's USDT, there's USDC, there's BUSD, and there's a few others. I think we're just going to see more and more in this industry. When one big one dies, the more smaller ones sprung up. And to be honest, BUSD was never a big business for us. When we started, I actually thought the BUSD project may fail. So we actually don't have very good economics on that collaboration. So now there's going to be more stable coins elsewhere. So we just want to support as many of them as possible. That's really it. Yeah.
Great. Thanks, Elja, for the questions. So Jess is back. Hopefully she can unmute this time.
Yes, I couldn't hear you. Good morning, CZ and Alex. Thanks for having me up. So CZ, I just kind of wanted to hear, like, in general, what is your overall sentiment over the BUSD news? And then I know a few weeks ago there was some restrictions for USD withdrawals. And if you could talk a little bit of, what type of impact you think that'll have on the space.
Sure. I think the overall sentiment, or the overall feeling is there's definitely more regulatory scrutiny and more tightening of regulatory frameworks and more tightening over the industry overall. I think we've seen that. I do imagine most traditional banks are probably asked by their regulators to either not work with crypto businesses completely or be very cautious about working with crypto businesses. There's news reports about the FDIC, the insurance for banks, telling banks that don't work with crypto, otherwise you're going to lose your insurance, and every bank will be scared to shit to lose that insurance. So they're withdrawing. So we're seeing multiple banks withdrawing their support, and some of them have been very positive towards crypto before, and some of the banks actually lost quite a bit of money because in the crypto space because most banks don't hold full reserves, and when there's a crash or a drop in crypto, people want to cash out in fiat, and many of the banks are forced to liquidate their investments before they mature, so they incur losses, and as a result, they kind of scale back. And then there was, other exchanges have to stop their earn products. Other exchanges are being fined for $100 million. So Coinbase was fined for $100 million not long ago. Kraken had to stop their earn product. So we've seen publicly multiple things that indicates there is definitely tightening in the industry. And the short-term result is, you will hurt crypto a little bit because the fiat on and off ramps are no longer working as well as they did before. So Binance have lost some banking access. Binance Exchange have lost some banking partners. And as a result, we had to pause some USD withdrawals, etc. But the funds are safe, so the industry will recover. We've seen this type of things happen. So short-term, crypto industry will be negatively affected to some extent. Longer term, though, the crypto industry is extremely resilient. It will come back. And then now the traditional financial services providers are not allowed or not touching crypto. The result is they're going to be pushed back 3-5 years at least on their crypto adoption. So they'll be that much further behind. 2 years ago or a year and a half ago, many of them are looking at crypto and trying to adopt crypto, adopt blockchain, adopt this new technology, which would be extremely beneficial for them longer term. But now that adoption is probably pushed back a few years. Longer term, though, that's going to make them less competitive in this new technology, with this new technology. So that's going to be negative on them. So I think that's kind of the general feeling. And I think that's pretty much it. Yeah.
All right. Well, thanks again, Jess, for the question. Just a reminder for those of you that weren't here at the beginning, we are taking questions from the listeners. So if you would like to volunteer to ask CZ a question, you can raise your hand and we'll bring some of you on stage. So next is Aaron.
Hey, CZ, I wanted to get your opinions on NFTs and if you actually own any.
Okay, the short answer is no, I don't own any NFTs. I'm not a art collector. I don't really listen to music either. If you guys read my blogs, you probably kind of know that. And I don't buy crypto either. So I just, I hope mainly into crypto. So I BNB and BTC. So I'm not an active trader. I'm not an active NFT collector. So I do think the technology is good, NFTs, etc. And I do think that we're just at the tip of the iceberg in terms of what NFTs could do. So I'm more of a coder developer background. I don't really write code anymore, but I don't do many things. So just because I don't hold NFTs doesn't mean I don't believe in the technology. It's just that I'm not an art collector. So yeah, so far I've not bought a single NFT myself. I was giving a few different NFTs from different events, different here or there. I'm actually not sure where I kept all of them. Yeah, that's that.
CZ, I seem to recall you getting given what you called a physical NFT a couple of years ago as well, which was a Photoshop picture of you holding up a BNB coin. Do you still have that?
I'm not sure, to be honest. I don't know where I keep these things. Yeah.
Okay. So moving on then, the Crypto Palace, please go ahead.
Yeah, thank you for bringing me up. Happy Vals here once again. I just want to throw up this question quickly. Suzy, how do you see the stablecoin market evolving in the future, and what role do you see Binance playing in this space? And then, secondly, how do you respond to criticism that stablecoins are just another form of fiat currency, and that they undermine this decentralized character or ethos of the crypto space?
Well, yeah. So first, the first part is so even BUSD is not issued by Binance. It carries the Binance brand. We have we have an agreement to let them use our brand, but we don't. That's not something that we created. The idea wasn't created by us. It was created by one of the partners in Paxos. So Binance view ourselves as a facilitator of a platform to promote other to enable access to crypto, including stablecoins. We provide liquidity. So we always work with multiple stablecoins. So even on Binance today, we support USDC, USDT, TUSD, a bunch of others. So and with BUSD gone, with BUSD slowly winding down over time, we'll continue to work with more stablecoin issuers or creators. So, and we also don't think we are the ones to. We don't want. We're not really the ones to create or issue stablecoins. So we're gonna just work with multiple partners in multiple places, etc. So that's kind of our position. On the second part is I do think stablecoins provide a lot of value in the crypto industry. It's definitely a net positive for crypto. It's kind of a hybrid between native cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and the traditional fiat world. If you want to move money across borders using banks, it's quite difficult. When you have stablecoin that runs on the blockchain, it does become permissionless to a large degree. And this, I would say, without stablecoins, you will probably see crypto prices being slightly different in different countries. It will create a more opportunity for people to do arbitrage, but it will create a less efficient market. So we've seen that that in certain places. Stable coins does become a very easy way for people to convert back and transfer on the blockchain, where with traditional fiat currencies you couldn't do that. So there are definitely advantages for having stable coins, and also I don't think it's going to go away. So once a concept is there, people will make copies of it. And there's probably like a couple 100 million people who knows about the concept of stable coins. So I think that will continue to be around, and I think that serves as a fairly important role in our economy, in the crypto economy today. Otherwise, we have to rely directly on banks in different places, which is less flexible and more expensive, less efficient, etc. So yeah, I think that many pure crypto OGs, they just want to hold Bitcoin. I think that's fine, but just because one person only hold one thing doesn't mean the other things are useless to other people. When stablecoins are useful to many people in the ecosystem, and when something's useful to some people, it has value. So that's kind of how I view stablecoins.
Great.
Hi, Alex. Hi, CZ. I have one question. Why do you think these remorse are on Binance?
Sorry, could you let the Moderator, control the timing.
Yeah, sorry, Alan. I think you're second in queue, so we'll get to you soon. Actually, next up is Aging Death.
Goblin burgers, goblin.
Okay,
Right.
well, that was a Valentine's treat for everyone here, I suppose.
CZ, you listen to my question?
Sorry, Alan, can you repeat your question now?
Why do you think these remorse are on Binance?
Sorry, well, that's what?
Remorse are on Binance.
Remorse are?
Sorry,
Alex,
I
do
don't
you
understand the
understand it?
question either. Could you rephrase it?
Why do you think these remorse are on Binance?
Remorse in Binance? I have no idea. What does that mean?
Bro, I have my remorse or on Binance.
Sorry, I think we're going to move on. So the next up then would be Jane.
Hi,
Sorry
CC.
about
Hi, Binance. Thanks for the AMA. I have a question. So in November, you guys announced, you encouraged people to self-custody and announced a VC investment into hardware wallet maker Engrave. Just wanted to see where you guys were with that and when it was going to come out. Thanks.
Actually, I don't know. Well, there's a few things. I'm not following each investment portfolio companies in a lot of detail myself. So really, on top of my head, I really don't know where we are with that project or with that investment. And also, even I try not to comment on specific projects when they're going to launch tokens or not, etc. So I try not to comment on specific projects there. But in general, though, we are extremely supportive of wallets and multiple different types of wallets: hardware wallets, multi-sig wallets, social wallets, mobile wallets, etc. So, and in each of those subcategories, we want to make multiple investments. So we own one of the most active mobile wallet today, which is Trust Wallet. In the hardware wallet side, we invested in ISAF PAL, and then this one you just mentioned, which actually I'm not too familiar with, to be honest. But we'll continue to make more investments. And yeah, so we just want to help the industry grow in the wallet area. I think the wallet area is extremely important. It's kind of like the browser for the internet. So we need to continue to invest in that.
Great, thank you, Jane, for the question. So the next would be Ignace.
Hello. I'm very curious about your ambitions in South Korea because you recently acquired a Korean exchange GoPax. And it's actually not your first time you're trying to venture into South Korea. Like in 2020, correct me if I'm wrong, you also launched the Binance Korea exchange. It was crypto to crypto exchange, but you also launched B Korean Won stablecoin. But that exchange had to close down because as far as I know, the stablecoin was not really liked by the government and the banks. So I'm wondering, your second chance right now, what's your strategy?
Okay. So yeah, thanks for the question. So Korea is always a very important market. South Korea is always a very important market for us. It's one of the most active in Asia. And I think the penetration rate for crypto in Korea is like 20-30% is one of the highest in the world. And they are very active traders too. So it's a very active target demographic for our platform. So we in 2019 or 2020 we did make an attempt to partner with a local partner and launch a Korean exchange. The main reason, though, is not as far as I can remember, is not a stablecoin issue or anything like that. It's just that the bank they had, the local partners were able to secure, was not quite as good as some of the bank accounts, the real name bank accounts that other large Korean exchanges already had at the time. So the one we launched together with our local partner just wasn't competitive enough on the product offering. And after a while, we're like, okay, we don't have a better product. Why do we spend our time then? There's 4 or 5 other fairly serious Korean exchanges running quite well. So we shut that initiative down. But it doesn't mean that we give up on that market. So we have been continually looking at following the South Korea market and been paying interest to that. I visited Busan last a couple months, 6 months ago or something like that, and we've been always following the developments there. And to be honest, almost all of the Korean exchanges at one point or another has been floating for sale or acquisition, etc. But many of them had like pretty high price tags, and they were pretty mature. And we thought, integrating a mature exchange into the Binance ecosystem would be a little bit more difficult. But then this year, GoPax came along, and they actually needed some financial assistance because of the current market situation. And actually, this is the deal that we used the Binance Industry Recovery Initiative funds to invest. So we moved some funds off that address to invest in GoPax. And so we protected any of the existing users from financial losses, and you also give us a licensed platform to operate with, to collaborate with in South Korea. So we're actually really looking forward to launching to sort of improve the product and launching more products in South Korea. So yeah, that's kind of what's happening. So I'm actually quite extremely positive about it.
Cool. Thanks, Ignace, for coming up and asking that question. So then moving on to James.
Yeah, hello, CZ. Hello, Ben, and thanks for the opportunity. I just have one question. I just want to know your comments about today's Blur's token launch, airdrop, and listing. Since Binance is the only one of the listing exchanges who hasn't announced the token listing for the Blur, and I just want to know your comments. And also we all know that Binance has its own NFT exchanges. It's a Binance NFT. How do you see the competition between the centralized custodial way of NFT marketplace with the decentralized NFT marketplace? Yeah, thank you.
Sure. Well, first of all, on projects, I don't comment on any specific projects. That's just a practice we follow. I don't want to impact market sentiment or investors, etc. So I don't comment on specific projects, and especially I don't comment anything on whether we're going to list or not list a coin. We have a process we go through to evaluate projects, and when they meet those criteria, we list. When they don't, then we don't list. So you just have to follow the announcements. I do want to say though, any project that says that we list on Binance usually gets on our blacklist. So any project that says that before they get listed, we strictly prohibit that. There has been many accusations previously about, before we list a coin, the price moves up, and there may be leaks, there may be front running, etc. We're extremely serious about that. We want to protect our users. We hold a very strict policies and process on our side to ensure that there are no or they're close to no information leaks. But when we work with crypto projects, for example, before we list a coin, sometimes we do need to work with the project team to make sure that we integrated the blockchain correctly, our wallet setup is proper, is secure. We may have questions about security, etc. And then there's discussions going on. We try not to tell project teams when they will be listed on Binance to the point where we can. But when we have those kind of discussions, sometimes the project teams do know that we integrated the wallet already, so we're probably pretty close to listing or launch or something. And then the news sometimes leaks on the project side. So we want to prevent that as much as possible. It's not 100%, but I think we do a better job than almost any other exchange. So on this one, we haven't listed it yet. We have not decided. We have not announced anything. So it doesn't mean that we will never list it in the future. It does not mean we will list it in the future. So we may or may not list that in the future. So that's just that. Yeah.
Cool. And CZ, did you have any thoughts on the second part of it, which was centralized versus decentralized NFT platforms?
Yeah, sure. So when people ask two questions, I have to hold one in my head, and there's not a lot of room up there anyway. So so again, I think that's for the market to decide whether they're decentralized versus centralized platforms. I do foresee that both type of platforms should exist in the ecosystem. So the more choices people have, the better. And then eventually, people may migrate all towards one or another platform, and and they change over time, right? So today, I think, like even for me, so people wanted to send me NFTs before. I always generate a Trust Wallet address and give it to them, and then I lose them. So over time, my Trust Wallet address migrates to as I change phones, etc. And I actually probably lost quite a bit of them. And this is my personal wallet, right? So this is not the exchange wallet where there's probably a couple $1,000s there. I do move the funds from wallet to wallet, but the NFTs I may or may not forget them. So so different users have different use cases. I think that so far today for NFTs, the decentralized marketplaces are bigger than the centralized ones. So that's also good. And we also invest in multiple decentralized NFT marketplaces. So it's really for the user to decide. It's not for me to guess or decide. We should, Binance as a platform, we should try to develop both, and we should try to invest in both. Just because we develop a platform, centralized or decentralized, doesn't mean that we don't invest in others or we don't support others as an exchange. So we list multiple decentralized NFT platform coins on Binance, and we work with them very closely. And even within within Binance, I think we incubated and supported multiple decentralized NFT marketplaces and centralized marketplace teams. So we actually make multiple bets, multiple initiatives. So I think NFT has a big future. We haven't explored that as an industry that much.
Excellent. Great. Well, thanks, James, for the two questions there. So next up is Spidey.
Hey, CZ. Hey, Alex. Happy Valentine's Day. It's not related to BUSD, and I think it's just another FUD which will fade away. So I don't know whether you've been following at CZ. G20 presidency is with India, and a lot of discussions are being made, like G20 coming up with crypto SOP to regulate it. And I think it was a welcoming speech by the finance minister of India, saying that crypto is more more technology is involved rather than human intervention. So they are coming up with SOP for all G20 countries. So how do you see that?
I think it's great. I think having no regulatory guidelines is definitely worse than having some crypto guidelines. Well, let me phrase it in a positive way. Having a crypto SOPs, what you call it, or crypto regulatory frameworks or guidelines is always better than not having them. So having clarity is always better. Today, in many markets, we don't have much clarity. There's not much guidelines, and they're just regulating by enforcement. So they don't issue any crypto guidelines, but they're just gonna sue people or stuff like that. That's much worse. So, and I also agree that crypto is a technology. Blockchain, Web3 is a technology evolution or innovation, and it's not going to go away. People around the world are going to continue to develop it, and it's going to continue to advance. So the earlier we get regulatory guidelines and clarity, the better. Having said that, just because there are guidelines doesn't mean all guidelines are good or bad. Good guidelines are good, good regulations are good, bad regulations are bad. So if the guidelines are able to protect consumers before negative events happen and are able to promote innovation, that's good. And the reverse, if they block innovation and also does not protect consumers, then that's not good. So there's a lot of nuance in there, but I think the more, but it takes many attempts to get this calibrated right. I do believe the first drafts of most crypto regulations are going to be overly tight. So we're going to go from no regulatory clarity to overly tight, and then probably the next draft will loosen up a bit, and we'll probably calibrate along those areas. So it does take multiple iterations for any regulatory framework to be mature. If you look at banking, they're still issuing new banking regulations. So so I think that's kind of how. But the more people talk about it, the more people spend time on it, the more people look at it, the faster we'll get to that optimum point. So yeah, I think it's a good thing.
So CZ, just to expand on that last point there, is there anything you can share regarding how Binance works with regulators or policymakers to, give advice or help shape potential regulations?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. That's good. It's a good reminder. So we do spend a lot of time on this front now. Over the last year and a half or so, we significantly increased our team on the regulatory framework consulting areas, and our team looks at almost any at any time when a regulator publish a draft framework for comment. Our team reads that, and they read that in a lot of detail. They submit our comments. And in multiple places, actually 95% of our suggestions were taken in. So in Hong Kong, when the Hong Kong regulators asked for industry comments, we submitted our comments, and it's available online. And most of our suggestions were taken in. When Europe issued their MiCA regulatory drafts, they asked for a comment. We submitted our comments. And actually, a key part of that comment has to do with stable coins. This is post-UST Luna crash. They wanted to, in Europe, they wanted to ban US dollar stable coins and just use Europe stable coins. Our team said, look, that's probably not a good idea. That's a bad idea because today most of the liquidity are in US dollar stable coins. You're gonna remove Europe from 80% of the liquidity in the market. So we submitted that, and they made the change. Now in Europe MiCA, they do allow US dollar-based stablecoins. And we also have a team that just goes around talk to regulators whenever they have questions or concerns. So we try to make ourselves available. And we also do find that most regulators want to talk to us. Most regulators actually, they have much less experience in this industry. So this is a new industry. You can't blame that, right? You can't blame them on that, right? So the progressive regulators want to talk to us and want to spend time with us and learn about it, ask us questions, etc. So we have a pretty large team handling that. And we're also working with multiple global industry associations to help advance this as well. When regulators talk to us, they are more focused on the exchange. But as an industry, we need global industry associations to talk about how do we regulate NFTs in the future. How do we do DeFi? How do we do metaverse, etc. So some of those areas may not be our expertise. So we're working with multiple global industry associations now, and local industry associations. So we're pushing on all of those fronts. Lastly, we also work with law enforcement. Last quarter, I think we completed like 63 trainings for law enforcement agencies, all in different parts of the world. So we train them on how to what crypto is, how to use a wallet, how to trace transactions, how to work with us, and what are our procedures to work with law enforcement. And that's the law enforcement training is actually the most requested training by anybody. So that team's really busy flying around to different countries and work with police, law enforcement agencies in different countries to do that. And that also helps us to build very good relationships with governments all in different parts of the world. And lastly, we also work with universities to teach, push academy education. And yeah, so we do all of these things. All of that is super important, I think. The short-term ROI is very low. There's no measured ROIs. But long-term, I think it's super important for us and industry players and also industry associations to do that.
Great. Well, thanks for the level of detail there. I think we've got about 3 minutes left and 3 people left on stage. So let's see if we can do a bit of magic. Next up is Crypto BN.
Hey, CZ, and others. You said a few days back there will be few more chains which will be where BNB will be the native coin. Can you post some updates around those new chains that are coming up?
New changes on the Binance product?
No, new chains.
New chains.
More chains.
Well, I think we announced one,
BNB
which is the the Greenfield chain, which is a decentralized storage chain. So which is very different from the 2 previous blockchains. And this is a third blockchain that BNB is on. This most people underestimate the impact of this, but once they see the chain launch, etc., and hopefully more people use it, they will see it. So this adds a significant big chunk of new use case to BNB. So now people can use BNB as a decentralized storage coin. And I'm very excited about it. I'm very excited about this new technologies and new use cases. So again, my understanding is BNB doesn't have to be one coin or limited to one blockchain. We can use that as the native cryptocurrency on multiple blockchains going forward. So there are more and more coming. I don't want to pre-announce anything. I want a team to announce when they're ready. The teams to announce whenever they're ready. We also welcome developers to come to us saying, hey, look, I want to develop this new blockchain. I'm going to make BNB a native coin on that. Can you give me some funding? We're very happy to do that if the project is good. So we also welcome that. We want BNB to be extremely decentralized as possible, and we don't influence much of the chain developments there. At least I don't. And I'm too busy, and I'm not technical enough. Not as technical as Vitalik, for example. He's deeply involved in the technical designs of Ethereum. I'm not that involved at all. So that's kind of the approach we take. I heard about different ideas or other future blockchains, but I don't want to pre-announce anything.
Cool. Well, thanks for the question, CryptoB. CZ, we've got 2 people left. Do you have time to squeeze in these questions?
Yeah.
Cool. All right, then pass over to Elegant.
Hey, thank guys. Hi, CZ. We're very happy for all the work you do for Web3 and crypto and your thought leadership. One question real quick about, this Bloomberg article that I sent over, I think yesterday on with Circle, telling regulators about your mismanagement with BUSD. Do you think this is an attack on CZ personality or Binance? So I want clarity on your engagement with BUSD, because I learned that Binance doesn't issue BUSD. So we want to know if there's something that has to do with Binance Exchange, BNB token, or BUSD specific.
Okay. I think we talked about BUSD in a lot of detail earlier. On the specific issue, I know about the article. It's actually people sent that article to me, and I have read it. I actually don't really believe Circle would do that. I don't think a professional industry peer will want to do that to another industry peer. It just hurts the overall industry, as we're seeing now. I don't think Circle would do that. If they did, they'll hurt themselves too, right? We also know that media loves to do this thing where it pits A versus B and 3, 2, 1 fight. They love to pit against USDC versus BUSD, Circle versus Binance or Paxos, or this guy versus another guy, and they love to do that. So they love to spin that narrative. I think we got to be very careful not to fall into that trap. Can't blame them. Media just want to make news. So I think we want to continue to work collaboratively with all industry players and build a very open ecosystem. So I have not seen any direct evidence. So that Bloomberg article was the first time I heard or seen that angle. And I've spoken with Germany earlier multiple times on conference calls, etc. I wouldn't take that article too seriously right now. So I will give people benefit of the doubt, and we'll continue to work with multiple partners, including Circle, including USDC, on the stablecoin front. And we want to explore new partners as we speak as well. So we're not exclusive with one. So so that's kind of how I view it. I wouldn't take that article too seriously. And I think as an industry, we just got to build more choices for stablecoins for our users. And we'll continue to work with multiple players, both hopefully in the US and elsewhere. Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then final question would be from Irina.
Hi, Alex. Thank you so much. Hi, CZ. So the SEC announced an open hunting season on crypto projects. At least that's how I see it, and that's how a lot of people from the regulatory aspect, how we see it. So what would your advice be for the crypto founders, how to survive this? Of course, moving to Dubai is one advice, but any other advices for the founders you might have?
Yeah, I think that's a fairly well. First of all, the question is framed in. I didn't read what they released, but I wouldn't think that SEC will openly say a hunting season, and that's probably a narrative that you put on. But there is definitely more crypto scrutiny and more attention paid to crypto. And as you said, different jurisdictions have different regulatory regimes for blockchain, Web3, crypto right now. Dubai is very positive. Bahrain is very good. France is pretty good. There's many other regions that are very good too. So one option is to explore multiple places. If you're serious about your project, moving to a new country might not be a bad thing. City. But people sometimes get very scared to move to a new country. I don't know why that is. But the other thing is to I think in the US, though, I'm not an expert, but I think in the US, you definitely do want to get expert advice, basically lawyers who understand your product and to ensure that it doesn't step on any regulatory red lines, etc. So, but there is quite a bit of uncertainty or grayness in this new industry. And the other thing would be look, just talk to regulators proactively. Most regulators at least claim they welcome people to talk to them, but I'm not sure how much access they really do give to people, especially entrepreneur, new project without reputation. Like large players for us, we do get access to most regulators. The other way is just look at how other people do it, right? So follow the industry norm to the extent you can. I don't know what type of projects you do, so it's a little bit more of an open question. But there are, but the industries they are very they are fairly favorable jurisdictions, and the industry is evolving. So that's as much as I can advise, I think.
Cool. All right, well, CZ, thanks for staying slightly over time. Thanks everyone for tuning in. If you're celebrating a Valentine's Day, I guess happy Valentine's Day. As normal, we aim to do these every 2 weeks or so. So if we didn't get to your questions, hopefully we will do next time. But yeah, until then, have a good week.
Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, thanks. Bye-bye.